Hi there guys, welcome to another wine review by myself, the Natural Sommelier. I hope we're keeping well and safe and drinking some deliciously awesome grape juice. Today we're going to be tasting the Coolhurst Vineyards Rosé from the 2020 vintage. This is their latest release. I'm really excited about trying this. I tried the 2019 vintage last year and really enjoyed it. I was given the opportunity to try the 2020, which I obviously jumped on at the soonest possible opportunity. This particular rosé, however, is a little bit unique because although Coolhurst Vineyards are an English winery, or British winery, based down on the south coast, this particular rosé is actually made down in the south of France, in the Provence region. And the Provence, for those who don't know, is a little area just south of the Châteauneuf-du-Pape region that specialises in rosé. Now, a lot of the rosés that come from here, in my opinion, aren't very good. They can be sort of overtly fruity and very sweet, almost in many ways. So I'm hoping that this particular style from the 2020 vintage is going to be very light and fragrant. But I've got my hopes up. The rosé itself that is used to make this, sorry, it's the bottle, is made from a blend of Cinsault, Grenache and Syrah, all from different sort of aspects and terroirs within the Côte de Provence sort of AOP. The fruit comes from loads of different soil types, including schist and loam soils, and slightly higher up on hilltop slopes as well. And they also get fruit from slightly lower altitude sites on clay limestone soils and some sandstone soils as well. So there's a really big mix going on in there. All of the grapes are mainly harvested in the early evening and into the night to ensure that the fruit sort of cools, which helps ensure a pale colour in the final assemblage. After a short maceration, the fruit is cold pressed and the juices are then settled at low temperatures, and there's no malolactic fermentation. Okay, the wine has an ABV of 12.5%, but let's have a taste and see what we think. Yeah. So on first, sort of appearance, if you like, the wine is very pale, incredibly pale, actually. There's not really much sort of colour to it. It has this sort of very, very, very pink sort of rose petal colour. It's almost got this sort of copper kind of feel to it as well. It's not really a blush for those who like their blush styles of rosé. This one, as I say, is very, very, very pale indeed, almost sort of watery thin there as well. There's a little bit of sort of viscosity on the side of the glass that you can see there as well. But let's have a smell and see what we think. Ooh. So, for me, the first thing that I get on the nose actually with this rosé is a lot of red fruits. There's this sort of fresh cranberry, strawberry kind of aroma to it. Lots of sort of like cherries, but you get some dark fruits coming through as well, and almost this sort of blackcurranty bramble-esque aroma to it too. It's very floral, which I quite enjoy as well. Lots of sort of wild flowers and heather and things like that. It's quite interesting. It's a little bit spicy, which is quite nice to see actually, because you often find a lot of, I personally find a lot of Provence rosés. They're mainly just about getting as much fruit into the bottle as possible, without any sort of secondary or like tertiary characters that express the land and the soils of which the grapes have been grown. Whereas with this, I am actually getting hints of that, which is quite nice. But it also has this intense minerality to it, lots of sort of limestone and wet rocks and this sort of clay, earthy character that I often find in wines that I personally really enjoy smelling. I'm not picking up any oak influence in there as well. It's just about the freshness and that lovely, vibrant, fragrant character. But let's have a taste. So on the palate, it's very dry. The wine itself has this sort of medium body to it. As I said, the alcohol sitting at 12.5% is definitely there. You can feel it, but it's not overtly overpowering or anything. The acidity is very high as well, which is okay, I guess. But I definitely think maybe it's a style of wine that needs a little bit of food to go with it. There's also this slightly oily texture as it rolls across the palate, which again is nice, but I think it's more of a food-friendly style of rosé. I don't necessarily think it's one just to sort of sit there and enjoy on a sunny sort of afternoon. Let's have another taste. Yeah. There's also that sort of bright red fruit character, but as I say, there's also that slightly darker, crunchy fruit character coming through as well. All the things I got on the nose, you know, sort of strawberries and cranberries and dark cherries and things like that. But as I say, it's got a very crunchy feel to it, which I quite enjoy. You know, a lot of Provence rosés don't have this much complexity. So it's quite nice to see one that's actually pushing some boundaries and saying, you know what, let's, you know, get as much as we can from all of these vineyard sites, take the best from all of them, combine them all together, and to create something that's a little bit more complex and that's actually a little bit more, it has slightly more character. I think it's the phrase I'd use than a lot of Provence rosés that you often try. But yeah, I think it's a very lovely wine. I think the finish is, you know, it's sort of very fragrant and very long as well. As I say, it's a great wine. I think it's really fun. And I think, you know, if you're into your pale rosés, as we're coming into sort of spring and summer here in the UK, and more importantly, as we're coming out of sort of lockdown and stuff like that, it's a perfect opportunity to try something that maybe is very familiar to a lot of people, but also something that is ever so slightly different as well. So I'd highly recommend getting hold of a bottle if you can. So this is available from Coolhurst Vineyards themselves. It's Coolhurst Vineyards, their website, and it's available for £14.99, which, granted, may be a lot for a few, but actually I think every penny is worth it and definitely worth giving a go. So as I say, if you really like your pale Provence style rosés, but want something with a little bit more character and a little bit more structure, then definitely give it a shout. Yeah? Don't forget to follow myself at The Natural Sommelier on Instagram, and also don't forget to check out my website, thenaturalsommelier.com, where you can find all of my latest wine reviews, articles, and don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well for our monthly newsletter. Until next time, whoever dies, stay safe. Cheers.